Esclavizados, descendientes de esclavizados.
Ok.
Bueno, eso te mostraba.
Yes.
Es María Remedio del Valle,
Ok.
capitana del ejército.
The revolution was accomplished with very little violence and bloodshed.
Today, there's a world of knowledge waiting to be discovered, unlearned, and relearned. Welcome to our journey where we delve into a topic often overlooked: the people Black in Argentina, what they don't show you. Join us as we uncover the untold stories, embrace the hidden histories, and challenge preconceptions. Get ready to be enlightened and inspired. The story of Afro-Argentines started long ago, back in the 16th century. That's when Black people, chained up, were brought from Africa to Argentina to be sold as slaves. Buenos Aires, the capital, was just starting, and trading was the big thing. As time went on, more and more slaves were brought to Buenos Aires. By the 1600s, about 70% of the trading in the city involved bringing in slaves from Africa. Eventually, the government made slave trading legal, and it continued until the 1800s. Even though the slave trade stopped in 1813, slavery itself didn't end until 1853. It's hard to believe now, looking at Buenos Aires with all its beautiful buildings, that it used to be a place where slavery was common. The Black population grew a lot during those years because of the slave trade. Back in 1778, a census showed that about 30% of the people in Buenos Aires were Black. By the time slavery ended, 1/3 of Argentina's population was Afro-Argentine. Many of them were descendants of slaves, and some were still enslaved. The Afro-Argentines weren't just a big community, they also influenced Argentine culture. For example, the tango, a famous style of music and dance, has its roots in Africa, specifically in Angola. Today, when we think about Argentina, we might not immediately think about its Black history, but the legacy of Afro-Argentines lives on in the country's culture and people. They played a big role in shaping Argentina into what it is today. The notion that Argentina is a country devoid of Black ancestry or descent is rooted in a pervasive belief in its supposed whiteness. This idea presents a logical quandary when confronted with claims of the erasure of Black history in Argentina. If Black people never existed in the country, as some may assert, how then did they seemingly vanish? Many remain unaware of the facts regarding the history of Afro-Argentines. However, this ignorance does not negate the reality that a Black community did indeed exist in Argentina, but was systematically erased, particularly around the early 20th century. Perhaps a more pertinent inquiry would be, was the Black narrative expunged from Argentine history? Or did Argentina deliberately efface its Black populace from historical records? Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe if you are enjoying the content. Okay, let's get going. One thing is indisputable. Black individuals did not simply fade from Argentina's historical narrative. The Afro-Argentines were deliberately omitted from it. Thus, the pertinent question becomes, how? How was an entire racial demographic expunged from history? While the slave trade in Argentina officially ceased in 1813, slavery persisted until 1853 before its final abolition. Enthusiasts of history naturally seek answers to this query, prompting various attempts to elucidate the disappearance of Argentina's Black population, some explanations more satisfactory than others. Indeed, the eradication of the Black populace occurred through diverse means, some circumstantial, others intentional. These methods, when amalgamated, furnish a comprehensive explanation of how Argentina systematically excised its Black people from historical memory. These amalgamated techniques are indicative of acts operating under the umbrella of whitening. Whitening can be succinctly characterized as the process of reimagining a race towards whiteness. This ideology presupposes the existence of societal privileges that accrue to white individuals vis-a-vis individuals of other races, irrespective of similar social, economic, and political circumstances. Implicit in this notion is the assertion that Black individuals are inherently inferior to whites. Moreover, this ideology advocates for the gradual erasure of Black genes through intermarriage with whites and the birth of offspring whose lighter complexion aligns more closely with the white standard. Initially, the term whitening in Argentina pertained less to color and more to overall attitude and cultural behavior. However, both interpretations fostered discriminatory practices by white Argentines against non-white individuals. Despite sidestepping the underlying issues of inequality and racial discrimination, The Argentine government tacitly endorsed and enacted this ideology. However subtle their actions may have been, it is incontrovertible that Argentina has been subject to a process of whitewashing. Argentina's purported whiteness and the erasure of its black history are inextricably linked. The deliberate omission of Afro-Argentines from historical narratives underscores a systemic effort to uphold a whitewashed version of Argentine identity, perpetuating racial biases and inequalities. Only through acknowledgement and redress of this historical injustice can Argentina move towards a more inclusive and equitable society. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe if you are enjoying the content. Okay, let's get going. For nearly a decade, the Argentine War of Independence raged on, commencing in 1810 and culminating in 1816 with Argentina's hard-won independence from Spain. Amidst the fervor of battle, it's conceivable that black men, many of whom were still enslaved, were conscripted into the fray, becoming casualties in disproportionate numbers. Among these unsung heroes stood Maria Remedios del Valle, a remarkable Afro-Argentine soldier who valiantly fought alongside her husband and sons in the struggle for Argentina's freedom. The prevailing narrative posits that the scourge of 18th century warfare claimed the lives of numerous black men, a demographic that constituted a significant portion of the black population at the time. Maria Remedios del Valle's courageous exploits exemplify the overlooked contributions of Afro-Argentines to the Argentine War of Independence. Certainly, the toll of war exacted a heavy price, with black lives lost amidst the tumultuous conflicts that swept across Argentina. However, attributing the vanishing of Afro-Argentines solely to the exigencies of war represents a gross oversimplification. Even after the abolition of slavery in 1853, the black population persisted, comprising approximately one-third of Argentina's demographic landscape. Hence, it seems improbable that the wars alone precipitated the precipitous decline in the black populace post-1800s. In the annals of history, distortions and embellishments are to be expected, particularly when narratives undergo manipulation and revision. Regrettably, this embellished rendition of events has permeated popular consciousness, fueling misconceptions regarding the disappearance of Afro-Argentines from Argentina's historical tapestry. Scant information exists concerning the fate of Afro-Argentines in Buenos Aires and Argentina in the aftermath of the wars. Their absence from national census records suggests a glaring oversight, indicative of a systemic disregard for their presence and contributions. Were the Afro-Argentine population truly dwindling, or were they simply marginalized and overlooked? This oversight may have served as a harbinger of the nascent racial profiling that would later plague Argentine society. If indeed Afro-Argentines perished en masse during the wars, a contention unsupported by empirical data, it serves as damning evidence of Argentina's callous intent to sanitize its historical narrative. Such erasure underscores a calculated effort to perpetuate a whitewashed version of history, wherein the plight and sacrifices of Afro-Argentines are conveniently omitted or downplayed. Ultimately, the legacy of Maria Remedios del Valle and her compatriots serves as a poignant reminder of the indelible imprint of Afro-Argentines on Argentina's struggle for independence. Their valor and resilience stand as a testament to the enduring spirit of a community unjustly relegated to the margins of history. As Argentina grapples with its past, it must confront the uncomfortable truths of its collective memory, embracing inclusivity and acknowledging the multifaceted tapestry of its national identity. For, as history has shown, the echoes of the past reverberate through the corridors of time, shaping the present and charting the course of the future. The loss of black lives in wars drastically diminished the representation of black men within the black population, consequently shifting the demographic balance toward women. This transformation disrupted the once equitable ratio of men to women, creating a noticeable disproportion. One notable consequence was the surge in interracial marriages in Argentina. With dwindling numbers of black men, black women found themselves confronted with limited options: either marry Argentine men or vie for the few remaining African men. Some opted, albeit reluctantly, for the latter. However, the implications of this choice were remarkable. Be sure to give this video a like if you are enjoying the content. Also, do well to subscribe. Okay, let's get going. Some folks say that after slavery ended, a bunch of Afro-Argentines decided to leave Argentina for places where black people were treated better, like Brazil. They figured they'd fit in better there. Some families were black, so it kind of makes sense. But here's the thing. That explanation doesn't quite cut it. It doesn't fully explain why black folks seem to have disappeared from Argentina's history altogether. I mean, just because you move away, does that mean you're erased from your country's story? Some people think so, but it's not that simple. One subtle yet significant move by the Argentine government to erase its black history was the encouragement of European immigration. This is evident from statistics showing that 2/3 of Argentina's population can trace their roots to Europe. In the 19th century, after a series of wars left Argentina with a depleted population, the government actively called for immigrants from Europe. This call was likely a response to the loss of lives during the wars. In 1853, Argentina adopted a new constitution, which, while abolishing slavery, included the 25th article allowing unrestricted immigration. This open-door policy towards immigrants, particularly from Europe, raises suspicions. It's uncertain whether Argentina initially intended European immigration to whitewash its history, but it eventually achieved that effect. The influx of European immigrants played a significant role in reshaping the demographic landscape of Argentina, contributing to the erasure of its black presence. The influx of European immigrants into Argentina brought about the hope for a whiter nation. With more white people arriving, there was an opportunity to diminish the rising black population. Over time, this led to the emergence of a new mixed-race demographic in the country. However, despite this mixing, Argentina's deep pride in its European heritage couldn't escape the reality of racial profiling. The country's strong identification with its European roots inevitably led to instances of discrimination based on race. In Argentina, the offspring of interracial unions were stamped with the label non-whites, a term that simplistically brushed aside the country's rich racial tapestry. It was as if the government was trying to whitewash the diversity that was there, creating this idea that everyone fits neatly into boxes of white or non-white, completely ignoring the complexity of people's backgrounds and identities. If you were to map it out, non-whites were considered a step up from pure blacks, but still not quite as high up as whites. So Argentina was laying down the groundwork for what they called whitening, this idea that the country should become more and more white over time. And guess what? Interracial marriages were seen as a kind of magic potion in this whitening process. Marry someone lighter-skinned and maybe your kids would have it a bit easier in society. It's messed up, but that was the reality back then. Put yourself in the shoes of an Afro-Argentine during that time. You're facing discrimination at every turn, and the only glimmer of hope for maybe getting ahead a little bit is by marrying someone white. But let's be real, you didn't have a whole lot of other options. Before slavery was abolished in 1853, black folks couldn't even dream of going to university. White kids got to stay in school longer than black kids, and good luck getting decent health care if you were black and broke. The system was rigged against you from the get-go. So yeah, it's not hard to see why some Afro-Argentines saw interracial marriage as a way to climb the social ladder, even if it meant sacrificing a piece of their identity in the process. It was a desperate attempt to navigate a society that was stacked against them at every turn. And that's a grim reality that's hard to swallow. In Argentina, the rate of infant mortality was significantly higher among black children compared to their white counterparts. The Afro-Argentine community suffered disproportionately during outbreaks of cholera in 1864 and yellow fever in 1871, further thinning their numbers and contributing to their eventual disappearance from Argentine society. Similarly, children born to mixed-race parents, especially those with white and non-white ancestry, often exhibited lighter skin tones and were perceived as somewhat closer to whiteness. This afforded them privileges and rights typically reserved for whites, elevating their social status and reducing the likelihood of facing discrimination. For black women in Argentina, the situation presented a stark choice: conform to whiteness to access greater rights and opportunities, or remain black and endure ongoing discrimination. This dilemma was not new and would persist over time, with the Argentine government skillfully orchestrating incentives to entice individuals to assimilate into whiteness. As Argentina embraced the process of whitening, there was a simultaneous erasure of black identity, not only in terms of physical attributes like skin color, but also in cultural consciousness. Today, a vast majority of Argentines identify as white, reflecting a widespread ignorance or denial of Afro-Argentine heritage. Many are unable to discern their true ancestry, blurring the lines between whiteness and Afro-Argentine descent. This loss of identity underscores the extent to which whitening has reshaped perceptions of race and heritage in Argentina. The hidden racism that's fueled Argentina's erasure of its black history is mind-boggling, and it's left a lasting impact that echoes through generations. As Afro-Argentines lost their lives, their stories and contributions were also wiped clean from the pages of history. But in more recent times, there's been a resurgence of the black community, and Afro-Argentines are fighting tooth and nail to reclaim their place in Argentine history by sharing their narratives. One standout moment came when the Argentine government designated November 8th as a day to honor Maria Remedios del Valle, an Afro-Argentine soldier who fought bravely during the Argentine War of Independence in the early 1800s. Since 2013, November 8th has been officially recognized as the National Day of Afro-Argentines and African Culture. It's a time for Argentina to reflect on and celebrate its African heritage. But even with these strides, the question still lingers. Is Argentina truly a white country? Well, it's not as simple as black and white. What we do know is that white Argentina can't just sweep away the traces of black history that are woven into its fabric. And that's a good thing, especially for Afro-Argentines who've been robbed of a significant part of their ancestral story. The fight to reclaim black history in Argentina is ongoing, but strides like honoring Maria Remedios del Valle show that progress is being made. It's about acknowledging the past, embracing diversity, and ensuring that all voices are heard and celebrated in the tapestry of Argentine culture. And that's a wrap on The People Black in Argentina, What They Don't Show You. We hope you found this exploration of the black experience in Argentina insightful and thought-provoking. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like and comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and insights on the topic. What resonated with you the most? What aspects surprised you? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments section. And remember, sharing is caring. If you believe this video can shed light on an important issue or spark meaningful discussions, be sure to share it with your friends and family and on your social media platforms. For more eye-opening content on the black experience in Argentina and beyond, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest uploads. And while you're here, why not check out some of our other videos? Dive deeper into the diverse narratives and untold stories that shape our world. Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration and understanding. Together, let's continue to learn, grow, and advocate for inclusivity and representation. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay empowered.